Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from the Dingo Ate My Jawa, who says, Am I overreacting? My husband ate my food. So I just had surgery on my stomach and intestines almost 2 weeks ago. Because of the surgery, I've had to adhere to a very strict diet until I'm fully healed. If I stray far from the diet, it could cause severe complications and possibly lead to death. So for the first 2 weeks after surgery, I can only eat or drink a full liquid diet. The most solid thing I can eat is pudding. I can't even have soup with any chunks of veg or meat in it, even if they are soft. There's not a lot of variety to choose from, and I'm not having a good time at all. Plus, I'm still having pain from the procedure and some nausea, and I've had to go in for IV fluids and iron twice now. Prior to surgery, I meal prepped for myself and for the family, so I wouldn't have to worry about it after. I made meals for myself for every stage of the diet and with specific macros and ingredients to meet my needs and comply with my other health problems. For example, I have celiac disease, so everything has to be gluten-free. I also follow a low sugar and low carb diet, so everything had to comply with that as well. I also made meals for him and our son, meals specifically requested by him. I stocked up on snacks they liked and asked for. We also have a fairly strict budget right now, so I made everything from scratch to save money. About a quarter of everything I made is in the freezer attached to our fridge for convenience sake. The rest is in the deep freeze in the garage. So most of the meals in our house freezer are gone. So I went out to the garage to restock. All of the meals I'd made for myself are gone. Just completely emptied out. I'm really upset because I have no energy right now to make more. Living off of liquids and having anemia will do that to a person. My diet is hopefully progressing to soft solids tomorrow, so I was really excited to be able to eat some of the food I'd made. I asked him about it and he blamed it on our son first, which I know is BS because the kid hates all of my special food with a passion. Lol. There's no way he'd be sneaking my food. So I questioned my husband again. He admitted to it, said he'd been taking my meals to work as his lunch because he was too tired to make his own lunch before work. He has always made his own lunch up until now. He also said he was bored with the lunches he makes and my food provided variety. I am exhausted. This recovery period is kicking my ass. Before surgery, I ran a mile every day. Now I barely have enough energy to walk up the stairs. I'm not supposed to lift more than 10 pounds. I'm not supposed to do anything more strenuous than walking. Even taking a shower is tiring right now. The anemia, dehydration, and lack of proper nutrition is making it worse. So when he admitted to taking my food, I just started crying. He hasn't been much help after surgery. My son, 11 years old, has been doing all the lifting for me and helping me with chores and cooking. When I started crying, he got disgusted and told me I was overreacting and being a baby. He refuses to make me new meals. He refuses to help me make new meals. He says it's been almost 2 weeks and I should be able to do stuff on my own. At this point, I'm seriously considering divorce. I mean, my son and I are already doing everything on our own already. And I know my kid won't eat my diet food. Am I overreacting? Also, I just found out he's raided my non-perishable food stores in the pantry. It was mostly sugar-free jello and pudding, stuff I can eat on the liquid diet. Pretty much everything is gone, except for some sugar-free orange jello. It's one thing for one day to take like one pot of this food because you're too tired or whatever an excuse it is. Say to your wife, look, I've borrowed a pot of food, I'll replace it, I'll make some more. And I'm sure the wife would have been cool about that, the amount of stores that she had at the time. But to take all of it and then when you're called out on it, not apologize, not do anything, not replace it, not offer to cook with her and replace them, just go, nope. And when you started crying about it, he got disgusted, told you was overreacting and being a baby. And we haven't even got to the part where your 11-year-old is doing the heavy lifting because your husband just sounds like he can't be asked. Big issues here. First commenter said, I think it's very possible he just threw them out and didn't eat them. Ate something else he bought or made. I also think he was taking multiple meals per day. If I understand correctly, in 2 weeks she has eaten a quarter of what she prepared, presumably 3 meals per day worth, and has eaten 3 times that. I bet he was smirking every morning when he stole 3 servings of her special diet sick food. Another commenter says this is wildly malicious. There's a lot going on here, but let's think. You made liquid, gluten-free, sugar-free food obviously for surgical recovery, and he took it for lunch. He suddenly got a massive craving for sugar-free puddings and soups. That is not what a fully functional healthy person chooses to eat when given a choice. Do you really think he decided to eat your restrictive lunches for 2 weeks because he was too tired to make a sandwich? Do you really think he found them to be full of variety? If you are miserable on this diet, why would he subscribe to it voluntarily? He took the food to punish you for being sick. This is absolutely divorce territory. At best, it was incompetence. At worst, it was malicious. Either way, his response to your understandable, exhausting crying is all you need to know. He has no remorse, and he will not care for you. And when you can't care for him, he will punish you. You should leave for your own health and safety. Another commenter says, this would make me hate him and lose whatever respect for him was left. What a lazy, see you next Tuesday. I don't use that word lightly either. It's the only word we have to be careful about on here, it seems. Another commenter says, he hates you. Sorry to say it. And maybe he's trying to seriously harm or murder you as a punishment for getting sick or infirm in the first place. Even if it's gastric bypass or elective surgery, it doesn't matter what you got it for. He hates you, and he wants to hurt you badly. Another commenter says, does he have a large life insurance policy on you by any chance? This arsehole is trying to kill you. So OP comes in with her update and says, this will be long. I apologize in advance. Okay, obligatory, oh my god, this post exploded comment. I didn't expect it to explode this much. I even saw an article written about it on People's Magazine's website. So thanks for that, everyone. I'm just glad this is a throwaway account and none of my friends and family are Redditors. I tried to read all the comments, but there are so many, and frankly, I'm tired, so I'm sure I missed a bunch. I apologize for that. Anyway, so it's been approximately a week since my post, and I tried to answer some questions and let everyone know what's going on. The food I had in the deep freeze in the garage was for the next stage of my diet, which is soft food with a high protein content. Think egg salad, tender cooked chicken, vegetarian, and chicken chili. Soft seafood, etc. Definitely more tasty than the liquid diet I was on. So maybe that's why my husband ate them. I don't know. I'm still not clear on why he did what he did. I have no idea if he ate them or threw them out as many of you suggested. I did ask him and he danced around it and didn't provide any answers. I think maybe he did a combination of the two. I think he has some built-in resentment as I've had health issues since before we married. He knew what he was getting into and he married me anyway. I don't think he realized the toll it could have on him in our relationship though. He's not a caretaker, just to clear things up. I'm not sick enough, except while recovering from surgery, to need someone to take care of me. I am very independent and I do everything myself. I do most of the childcare, cleaning, errands, cooking, managing money and expenses. You get the idea. He does get upset because I'm not always able to do activities with him that he really enjoys, like hiking, fishing, frisbee golf, etc. Mostly things that involve being outside. I'm very sensitive to temperature and heat makes me physically sick. I'm also supposed to avoid the sun as it gives me a rash and makes me nauseated. We do a lot of indoor activities like playing games, movies, museums, going to the gym, swimming indoors, etc. I also make an effort to spend time with him individually and as a family. Up until this surgery, we had no issues and I had no idea he would act this way. Maybe I missed some red flags. I don't know. My husband has never been abusive, nor has he ever done anything like this before. That's why I made the post. I was really confused because I had no idea where his attitude was coming from and thought maybe I did something. Like I stated above, I think he has some built-up resentment or something. He's always been understanding and respectful of my needs and my health and has never shown that he may have any differing feelings. Our sex life is great. He stated he's very satisfied in that aspect. He says that he sees I'm putting forth a lot of effort to spend time with him and making him a priority in my life, and he says he appreciates it. So unless he's feeding me a line of BS, this isn't the cause either. The surgery I had was removal of benign tumors I had in my stomach and part of my intestine. They had to remove 3/4 of my stomach and part of my small intestine. They got all the tumors and are optimistic they won't return. I'll have to be very aware of my nutrition for the rest of my life, as I will have malabsorption issues. The surgery was done laparoscopically, so it's not as painful and doesn't require as much recovery as an open procedure. So, on to the update. After we fought and he refused to rectify the situation, I told him we needed time apart. He went to stay at his mum's house as I don't have any friends or family nearby. For food, I made some scrambled egg and hard-boiled some eggs to get me through dinner that night and breakfast in the morning. The next day, we talked on the phone for a couple of hours. He apologized profusely. He explained he was extremely stressed at his job and he was really worried about me and my health. I told him that is not an excuse for treating me like crap, nor does it seem like he's worried about me at all since he did what he did. He agreed with me and apologized again. He agreed to go to individual and couples therapy, which is huge because he doesn't like or believe in therapy as he's had bad experiences in the past. I also see my own therapist and have been for the last 15 years to be clear. He also agreed to buy all the groceries to replace all the food he took, and he agreed to make my meals for me with a little guidance as he's not great at cooking. I made it clear that if he does something like this again, there'll be no more chances given and I will file for divorce. He also apologized to our son for putting more responsibilities on his shoulders. My husband is now back to staying in our home. He's been doing all the things I'm not supposed to do and he's working on remaking all of my meals. I've been teaching him how to cook easy meals for him and our kids so he can do so in the future. He's been nothing but polite, sweet, loving and respectful. He's also been putting forth an effort to take on more responsibilities in the house, so I'm not forced to have to do everything. I am, however, worried this is all just a temporary fix because he wants to avoid divorce. I'm keeping an eye out for red flags. I'm not willing to put up with poor treatment. I'm just waiting for him to get comfortable and revert back to old habits. So we will see what happens. Only time will tell. To be clear, he's never treated me badly in the past, which is the main reason I decided to give him a second chance. I'm really hoping it's an aberration. As for his stress at work, his place of employment is severely understaffed at the moment. He's been going to work early and staying late to help him with this issue. He's tired and cranky, which is understandable. Added my recent surgery on top of things, and he just couldn't handle it. He knew my surgery would be complicated, and he says he's afraid I'll die or end up with complications. This is understandable as well. I'd feel the same if roles were reversed, but he does agree that none of this gives him an excuse for his behavior, and he's agreed to work on it. He says he is very satisfied and happy with all other aspects of our life together, and he says he's really disappointed with himself for the way he acted. Again, we'll see how it works. I'm taking everything he's saying with a grain of salt. That's it. I can't think of anything else to add. I'll post another update if anything changes. Thank you to everyone who was kind and expressed concern for my health and my situation. The top comment on this one says, I was afraid you'd die, so I got rid of all the food you'd need to survive. And says that makes zero sense. I'm glad you're keeping an eye out for red flags. It sounds like his mum probably, hopefully, told him how awful he was and it helped him realize he was wrong. But all the stress in the world doesn't excuse him actively sabotaging your recovery. Another commenter says, I'm still not sure how being stressed at work equals starving a sick wife, being disgusted by her crying, blaming an 11-year-old and making them pick up the slack completely disregarding medical advice, and expecting you to be doing things rather than him. Like, how can you look him in the eye? That's just awful. Why do you need a second chance to see how much he doesn't value you? Another commenter says, please allow me to speak for all of Reddit when I say, we hate your husband, and you'd best leave at the first red flag because you deserve better. Good luck. And I had two thoughts on this. It was like that comment said, either he's gone home and mummy's ripped him a new arsehole, or he's gone home and realized, shit, I don't want to end up in this situation, so I best apologize when I get back. So whether it's like a placeholder apology kind of thing, it's all going to go back to normal soon. I guess we will see at some point. I was with those comments. Yes, there's stress, and stress can do weird things, but to the point of, taking all your sick wife's food, seeing her crying, being disgusted by it, and also trying to initially blame your 11-year-old and letting him pick up all the slack of your failings is wild to me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a bit of a different subreddit, from r/pointless stories, and it's from Used Establishment 92, and says, "My son only eats food that I throw at him." Random title, but here we go. Just to be clear, I'm not whipping ham hocks at him. My 14-month-old son thinks it's funny to throw food from his high chair. So funny that he'll forget to eat it. He's got a pretty good arm too, for a baby. About a week ago, he was eating blueberries and cut up pieces of strawberry and watermelon, and he kept throwing them at me. Finally, I got fed up and tossed a blueberry back at him. It bounced off his chest, he looked down at it, then back up at me, and broke into the hardest laugh I've ever heard come out of him. I threw a few more pieces of fruit, and he was cracking up. But then he reached into his high chair and he ate a whole handful of it. Normally, he would just eat one bite at a time. This went on and on until he had eaten everything that didn't fall on the floor. We've been keeping this up for the past week. Sometimes I tried to throw food right into his mouth, but so far I've missed every time. I'll be honest though, I'm a little worried about tomorrow, because it's spaghetti night. Edit. Wow. I'm surprised it's got so much attention. I'm tossing breakfast at him now. Eggs, fruit and toast. But I will post an update after spaghetti time. I don't feel comfortable putting a picture of him on the internet, absolutely. So you'll just have to use your imaginations. Edit 2, some people are worried he might choke if I threw food in his mouth. I'm a really bad shot, lol. But I also had to learn baby Heimlich and CPR because his older sister has such a sensitive gag reflex and choked on food constantly. Like, her gag reflex is so bad, she has to have a warning on her chart when she goes to the dentist because she'll throw up or gag if you touch the back of her mouth. When she started eating solid food, I didn't want to take any chances, so I bought a little thing called a life vac that apparently sucks objects out of a baby's throat if they're choking. I've never had to use it, but it's right next to his high chair just in case. I appreciate all the concern for my baby though. Thank you for looking out for him. Interesting, I've never heard of one of those life vac things before. But okay, I'm sure we all want to know how spaghetti night went. OP posted the very next day and says, well, spaghetti night was a success. As long as you define success as he ate the food. I think as a parent, that's success, right? That's gotta be success right there. I was surprised that he immediately started eating it without having to play our little game first. I made him a plate with a couple of little twirls of pasta, and he started grabbing fistfuls and chowing down right away. He's half Italian, so I guess it's in his blood. After a few good handfuls though, he was ready to play and started whipping noodles at me and my daughter. Because he's an uncoordinated baby though, he ended up flipping them back onto his own head, which cracked up his sister. And when she laughs, he laughs. To be honest, I didn't end up throwing too much food at him tonight, mostly because he was doing my job for me, but also because I just got caught up in watching my kids play together. He still got ridiculously messy though. Afterwards, I put him right in the tub, but he was like an Italian bath bomb. The water was orange and had all little flakes of herbs and Parmesan cheese, so I had to drain it and start again. While I gave him a bath, my husband started the task of cleaning up the high chair and its surroundings. He shouted, "How did he get spaghetti in the lights?" Apparently, there were noodles in the light thing that hangs down above our table. I forgot what it's called. There was some on the wall, but mostly just on the floor. And on the baby. All in all, it was totally worth it. I love that sort of stuff. That must have been so cute, watching them both laugh together as well when he flicked the spaghetti on top of his head. I love that. But I had a flashback as I was narrating that story. And I can remember when I was young, and I don't know whose house I was in. It must have been a friend's of some sort. And they had like a massive black and white. I don't know if it's a famous picture or it's a picture of one of their kids or something. But there was this huge black and white picture. It looked like it was done by a proper photographer. And it was just like this baby laughing or something with a bowl of spaghetti on top of their head with like the spaghetti all coming down the sides, almost like hair. I don't know why that picture has suddenly popped into my head, but it's always stuck with me, that one. But anyway, what do you guys make of this situation. Lovely little wholesome one to end that. Absolutely love that. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it means the absolute world. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.